Recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. Ms. Cabelka, in your own words, can you describe the role and function of the Bureau of Administration? What is its mission? And during your tenure there, what did you see as the biggest weakness within the Bureau?
Thank you for the question, Chairman Lawler. Like I said in my opening remarks, I really do feel like the Bureau of Administration is the administrative backbone of the State Department, focuses on lots of operations that the State Department, both domestically and overseas, really needs to support the work that they are doing abroad. So everything from, again, moving people's home goods to overseas school support to language services, also procurement, which we talked about already, both of us, in our opening remarks, that is obviously a vital part of providing services and additional support for the State Department. So I would say, again, it's the administrative backbone of the department. And again, as I mentioned, it's been around for 80 years, and though it doesn't have typing pools any longer or call centers in the same way that it did. Technology has certainly evolved and opportunities have certainly evolved for the State Department. I would say one of the biggest challenges that I had when I was at the State Department was the ILMS system that I mentioned in my opening remarks. It's a significant platform that really does track all the logistical support for the State Department. Unfortunately, it's a pretty big platform that's been overly specialized over time and is very integrated. And I would say that the contract that it was originally placed on were very long contracts that have existed for a long time. And I think that as technology has improved, that the ILMS project should move on to new technological platforms that can support that effort going further.
Appreciate that. What, in the work that we're doing now, especially considering that Congress has not undertaken this responsibility in 2 decades, what do you see as some of the considerations that we should make in assessing the efficiency and effectiveness of the current organization of the Bureau?
Sure. So, like I mentioned, a lot of the Bureau of Administration actually does already operate under an efficiency type model. And the fact that when you work in a revolving fund space or in a working capital fund, you always want to make sure that you do not go into the red. And there are several lines of effort at the State Department, not just in the Bureau of Administration, that work in a working capital fund, like the Consular Affairs work that you see. I think something that's very smart about it is that it allows the staff to be agile, going where the demand is, the demand from within the State Department, which is what A's focus is, most certainly, but places like Consular Affairs can look to the outside and see what the demand is for their needs of staffing and their needs of effort. So I think one thing that people should certainly look at is, are there working capital fund opportunities within the State Department that they can look to make sure that they really are right-sized already? And again, making sure that your program doesn't go into the red versus asking Congress for more money is certainly a way that people can do that.
So a Bureau is responsible for domestic operations and emergency services at the department. Can you explain to us what that encompasses and how it differs from the Bureau of Diplomatic Security's role?
Sure.
For instance, why is emergency services planning and operations for domestic and foreign incidents split into 2 different bureaus?
Sure. So emergency management services in the Bureau of Administration is actually more focused on COOP and COG, so continuing operations both of government and of operations at the State Department. So it's more of a domestic focus, so thinking of things like active shooter, unfortunately, and other topics like that. But also, obviously, emerging health crises. Obviously, emergency management was used a lot during COVID. Obviously, there's also a lot of efforts that were done internationally on COVID as well. But the focus is more domestic. I cannot speak to why emergency management services was originally put into the A Bureau, but it's been there a long time. I can certainly do that. And again, it's a slightly different focus than diplomatic security. However, they do work very closely together.
That was my next question. They're coordinating between emergency planning with diplomatic security officials?
Most certainly.
Okay. Are there gaps in funding, personnel, or technology that hinder effective emergency coordination between a bureau and diplomatic security?
I can't speak to diplomatic security as I never worked in that bureau, but I can say emergency management services, we never had a shortfall. We actually did update the notification system when I was in the A Bureau from an outdated system, and that is basically so employees can call in if there is an active shooter situation, checking in, making sure people know where they are during a weather emergency or those sorts of things for the State Department to be able to do head count. So that is a system that was updated when I was at the State Department, but I don't remember there being any financial problems when I was there.